here we have our page that is locally stored, and we are going to change its CSS in an internal style sheet. So everything that is here within this tag is going to be considered the style sheet. And we may as well, for the purposes of demonstration, affect all the elements in our page, especially since there's so few of them. Now, the semantic elements in HTML that HTML gives to us are invoked in CSS by simply typing their names. So body, and then we open and close brackets to contain the styling that we're going to put in there. The next element we have is h1, then p, then ul, and finally li. Okay, so one thing I want to do with my body is I will make it have the background color of purple. Now, I think this color is a little bit too mauve or pink for my tastes, a little bit too plum maybe, so we can look up color values in CSS. Color values in CSS are defined on a hexadecimal scale, and I will link you to a video on hexadecimal in the list of videos. But for now, we'll just use a lookup service to look up hexadecimals to color translation. So I saw a suggestion that said picker. That sounds really great. Let's see what we get. Here we go. We have a color picker right here. Now I would like a kind of bluish purple. And here we have an even more fine-grained selection. I would like this dark one. So here we can see the hexadecimal value. So let's copy that. And for background color, we'll say this color. Now, it's called hexadecimal because we have 6, you can see, numbers that it's made out of. And the numbers scale from 1 to 12. So it goes 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That gives us our first 10 numbers, and then I think the letters of 16, sorry. Hex being 6 and decimal being 10. So the reason it's called hexadecimal is because the numbers scale from 1 to 16. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 our first 10 values, and then we have A, B, C, D, E, F for the next 6. So we can see there's a lot of zeros in here, so it's a fairly dark color. And the way that the groupings are broken up is by R, G, and B. So we can see that we have a fairly small amount of R. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 0. Here 0, 0, so no G at all. And then here we have an 8, so more blue than red, but still a fairly low number. Okay. Now we're going to close this and reload, and here we have our color. Great. So that's the body. So I want to take a moment here and just point out that troubleshooting and not knowing what you're looking for are sometimes a thing that happens. And so I'm taking the time to show you guys how I looked up the solution to my problem and kind of like went through logic to try and figure out what the part that I was missing was. And it's not the same kind of logic as the logic that you would use in writing a mathematical proof, for example, but this is programming logic, web programming logic specifically, so there's a kind of just like general methodology that is used when writing this kind of stuff, and you can kind of think about it as you figure out how to search for the answers to your questions, because most of this work is knowing how to find the answers for yourself. Okay, so here I'm actually going to play with the border property, and I can just write it like this, border, and I believe I can give it a color of, I'm gonna say black. So black is going to be no saturation on any of the colors, color values, 0, 0 on R, 0, 0 on G, and 0, 0 on B. Let's save that and see what we get. Nothing, perhaps because we have to give the H1 a width. So let's see, border width, there we go, and now this is going to be the thickness of the border. I see we have words we can write, but I'm going to go for pixels, and we reload and still nothing. Alright, something is up here. Let's see, color is black. Okay, let's look it up since it's not working. Border, properties, CSS. So this is how you look for the things that you need. CSS borders. Here are some examples. And here is, so they're saying we want border style solid. Alright, I think that's the part that I'm missing. So I don't just have to tell it, I'll put 3 picks back, I don't just have to tell it the color and the width, but also the style in order to make it appear. Now let's check that. Yes, amazing, we have a border. And it's interesting here how the border goes all the way to the end. So in fact, I'm going to copy this into all of my elements because I want to demonstrate where all the borders are. So I save that, I'm going to reload the page. Okay, so now we can see where all of our elements start and stop. We can see the padding around the H1. We can see how they all extend to the end. The space for the dots and padding around the body, or within the body rather. Very interesting. So we can even change some colors over here. So to make this red, fully red, we will say FF over here, so we know that FF is full saturation, right? Because this goes from 0 to 9 and then from A to F. And then this we can make green. That's the G section of the code. And this we can make blue. Now that leaves us with one more unit over here. And for that, why don't we make yellow? So that means full saturation on the red and the green. Okay, Save that. And here we are. Okay, so now we can kind of see how the UL, which is blue, is holding the LIs, which are yellow. That's super, super handy. Now CSS is displayed in two ways. Block display and inline display. So let's look at this. Here we have the examples, inline, block, and both. So let's try that. So when you have display none, it will actually not display anything. Or at least that's what it should be doing. Though I rather see, I do actually see this here. Ah, it is this. Okay, so what they're affecting is this EX1 tag, which says hello world. So here, display none makes it that such that there is no hello world in this paragraph at all. If I substitute it for inline and we recompile, here we go. Hello world is visible. Okay, display inline, so it's in line with the element that it is in. And block here is making sections. So I wonder if I take this display inline that we have over here and I put it in my body, what is that going to do for the rest of my page? Interesting. Okay, so it took away the padding, but it still has left everything else that's within it to be in block. So that doesn't really help me. Let's see if I put it on the elements within the body, will that make them align with each other? And it has. So now we have our first element, and as soon as it's done, we have the next one. So that's my name is Sophie part. And as soon as that's done, we have the list. And now all of the points on the list are horizontal. So I really like the horizontal points, the horizontal selectors on the list, but I don't like this paragraph being right after this introduction to web design titles. So I'm going to leave this here, but I'm going to remove this, and perhaps even I will say display block and reload. Great, so now I have my links down here in line, they're in a line, and then I have my about me below the title, which I think is lovely. Now I do also think that this would be very nice if it was centered. So let's center that. And I don't remember how that is written, but I'm guessing maybe it's something like CSS text style display. Not font display alignment, yes. Perfect. Text align center. I would like it if everything in the body was aligned center. Save that. Beautiful. And now the border is quite obtrusive, so I am going to remove these borders. And the way that we can remove these borders is we can comment them out. So we're going to take this line of code and we're going to turn it into a comment by writing 2 forward slashes. And now we have our invisible borders. There's one left over. Okay, great. Now these aren't super distinguished from each other yet, but that's alright. And then finally, maybe we can push this entire thing down a little bit. So in order to push down everything that we have in our page, I'm going to say padding top. I want to push down just the top part of it. Let's push it down quite a bit so it's comfortable to read. 100 pixels. Okay, now it's kind of centered in the page. Centered and pushed down. Fantastic.